who you are and what you do. So, Raymond, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, but also about the organization that you represent, that we know is Tropicana?
Tropicana Community Services. So good to be here, everyone. Is it good to be here? Yes. It is, isn't it? It's good to always be in a room of, always inspiring room of Black excellence, and that's what's on display here today. But you've asked me to talk about Tropicana Community Services. So Tropicana Community Services, we're one of the 4 national funders. Tropicana is Canada's largest Black-led, Black-serving charity social services agency. And we run, I can't even count how many programs we run, but we run a range of programs that range across the span or trajectory of a Black life, if you will. From daycare for infants and toddlers through to middle school. We have a captive audience and we can impact and influence. We run youth development and education programs that pick it up through high school. We run the provincial employment services programming that will help those same individuals get their first job, their next job, and seek to help youth and others to find employment, whether they're in transition or seeking their first job. We also run 5 to 6 or so scholarship programs or scholarships that we give out every year to individuals seeking post-secondary education support, both at the undergrad and post-graduate levels. We deliver, and all of this is undergirded by really what was the organization's inaugural program, which is culturally appropriate clinical counseling and mental health supports, so that even as we are helping people move along that life trajectory when things go sideways, our team is there to help folks pick up the pieces, put things back together. So it's really a end-to-end, life trajectory system of programs that we deliver to, over time, nudge the trajectory of a life towards success rather than disaster. That's what we do.
And you're doing that throughout Ontario?
We do that in the GTA and are looking to expand those programs, and both programmatically and geographically. And there's an incredible team of folks. I just get to come up with once or twice. I come up with a couple of good ideas, but it's an incredible team of folks that work on the ground, delivering these programs every day, changing the lives of Black lives in Toronto.
And it's such a great thing that you have been doing that for 40 years, over 40 years now. So I think
the organization
it's
has been
really
doing it for
so I think that's a lot to be said about. And Sandra, tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that the Africa Center is doing out west.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sandra Muchekeza. I am the Director for Program Development and Accountability at Africa Center. Africa Center is based in Edmonton, Alberta, and we pretty much do everything that Tropicana, very similar work to what Tropicana does. I like to think we are the Western Tropicana. So similar to them, we have a range of programs that are from cradle, so we do have a daycare as well. We have youth programs, scholarship programs really for this youth. The youth programs actually, I think, our largest programming pillar, where we have programs that work with youth to prevent them from, the school to prison pipeline. So oh, you can't hear me? All right, okay, I will put this closer to them. Is that better? Oh, perfect, thank you. And we do also run agenda equity program, which is funded by the Women and Gender Equality Department at the Government of Canada, which addresses intimate partner violence at the moment. That's the focus of our agenda program. We do also run a seniors program, and I guess our flagship program, I would say, is the SBCCI program that is why we're here today. Like Tropicana, we are the largest Pan-African Canadian organization that's Black-led and Black-serving out in Western Canada. So that's just in brief what we do.
It's awesome. And I think, can I just leave you and go straight over to does anyone here needs to be introduced to Concept? If you do, raise your hand. Okay, well, there's one person, so I guess we're gonna have to, so go for it.
So yeah, my name is Edgar Jean-François, so I have the privilege of managing what I call an ecosystem of support, Groupe 3737. We have also programming, but we are experts in terms of business development, in terms of business creation. When we say business creation, it means yes for profit, but as well for the non-profit. So we are business development experts. When I say ecosystem, it's important to say an ecosystem, because I always say people that hear me talk usually feel some kind of redundancy in what I say, so we don't have the pretension of doing the work that we do all by ourselves. We do that work with working with partners, with different type of partners, organizations, entities, public, private sector, from the community sector, from academic sector. So it's an ecosystem of support to help entrepreneurs actually develop their project, but at the end of the day to create wealth, create jobs, make a difference, create resources, and to see in what capacity that those resources can be reinvested in the collectivity. So yes, it's an economic development organization, but at the end of the day, our ultimate goal is really to create social development, to really create an impact by using those resources and making sure they're being reinvested in the collectivity. So today, we're glad to say that we have now a national reach with 12 offices across Canada. We have the pleasure of working with different, organization and I feel leaders across the country that, you know, at the end of the day are working for the Black community, for people from a diverse background, to make sure that we create not only resources, that we address different issues. We talk about issues of access to capital, issues of access to network, issues of access to resources. So the idea is really to make sure that we concretely put together infrastructures and tools to be able to address those issues, and at the end of the day, to reinforce and make sure that the Black community actually takes its rightful place, long time overdue, across the country. So that's what I do, and that's I have the pleasure to do. It's really a privilege to be able to talk in front of you.
Well, talking about like in a rightful place, you know, Tiffany, I think this is something, you know, I think that's sort of been the battle of your life to a certain extent, like, you know, doing what you're doing now compared to where you were a couple of years before.
When I started my career at 9, yes.
And so we know that you've been involved like in the community component, but also like, you know, in accompanying like, you know, entrepreneurs. Can you tell us a little bit more about, you know, in particular what FACE is doing, and, you know, and then talk a little bit about yourself in the process.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Tiffany, Montrealer, born to Bayesian parents who migrated here in the 70s, and I chose the nonprofit sector for my adulting, as they would say. So it's been 20 years in May 6th. I celebrated 20 years of working exclusively in the nonprofit sector, serving the Black community. I had the opportunity to work with many organizations here in Montreal, and then during the pandemic, I think myself and a few crazy people who love our community just enough decided that we were going to start a movement to really address what we thought was going to be disastrous for Black businesses across the country, and to work with government to first discuss, then design, and then to execute the rolling out of the historic Black Entrepreneurship Program, which is an investment of over $230 million from the Government of Canada to invest in Black entrepreneurship. And that same team of individuals went back into the machine and said, how would we craft out one part of that program, which is lending, obviously with the support of our expert, Rustam Southwell, who you'll hear about shortly. And this is how we developed the Black Entrepreneurship Loan Fund, which is managed by the Federation of African Canadian Economics, where I was named the inaugural CEO. And the organization offers loans to Black businesses across the country, ranging from $10,000 to $250,000. We work with partners like the BDC, Alterna Savings, and Van City. And we're going to be celebrating our second year on May 31st of this month. And we have already in our first year, we closed with $8.3 million dispersed. And we're going to be reporting shortly that we've now hit the 24 million dispersed to over 286 companies across the country, and many in the pipeline to continue being processed. So very proud to do this work, and I feel pretty privileged to sit next to Rustam Southwell and Louis Gare and the panels here, because we do work not only just to help our community, but from the heart. It's different when you're helping people who look like you because it is you.
Yeah. And then, is anyone keeping track of the numbers? Because I know you said 8 million, and how much? Because Ed did say that there was going to be a lot of money, 11 million. So please keep track of this. $33 million already. Last time you're sitting right next to Tiffany. Tiffany was sure to say, that you were there, when it was needed. But you're also there even before we knew that we needed you. I don't want you to take a full hour to tell us what you did because there's enough to talk about that. But I'm curious can you just tell us as succinctly as you think is humanly possible, who's Rustam? Who's this guy, and what is his BBI thing?
Well, thanks. And maybe first I have to thank Ruth Transcend, my BBI-faced daughter on my right, and Louis Guy especially for working with me. And before I really answer your question, this Sunday is Mother's Day, and I thought that there's a piece when I got married in 1980, I read to my wife, which was written by Elridge Cleaver. For those of you who don't know him, that's the Black Panther. I thought maybe for the women in the room, I'll say something nice with your permission, of course.
Yeah, sure.
So black woman, without asking how, let's just say we have survived our forced march through the valley of slavery, suffering, and death.